Welcome to my UK Global Talent Visa in Digital Technology presentation. This is the Women in Tech edition made especially for you on International Women's Day. My name is Michelle Hewer and I'll be going through the presentation today on what is the Global Talent Visa, the Stage 1 endorsement application and process, some stats which will be really interesting because I've found some stats between men and women who have been endorsed, the criteria which you need to have a look at and meet in order to get the visa. And I'll also introduce some Women in Tech alumni who have successfully received the endorsement. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Michelle Hewer. I'm Australian Vietnamese and I'm the founder and CEO of Made with Love. It's a UK wearable technology company designing heated gloves for women. I'm also a Global Talent Visa coach in the Stage 1 endorsements. And the reason is because in 2016, I received an endorsement for exceptional talent and I went on and got my Global Talent Visa. Shortly after that, I became a Tech Nation Visa Ambassador. And the reason is because back then when I applied in 2016, there was no one really who got the visa. So they needed ambassadors to spread the word, to share their journey so that it could encourage other people to apply as well. In 2016, I co-founded Women of Wearables. It's a global community connecting women in wearables, IoT, AR, and VR. Shortly after 2 years, I exited Women of Wearables, and it's still running. We've got more than 20,000 followers, and Maria Butkovich, my co-founder, is now taking that on, and it's just, I'm so proud of Women of Wearables because we started it with 0 followers. And when I was there in 18 months, we went from 0 to 8,000. So we knew that there was a gap for women in the wearable tech industry. The great thing about the visa is that in 2019, I went on and got my indefinite leave to remain. So that's almost like a permanent residency. And then shortly after, I received my British citizenship. So I'm so happy that my immigration journey in the UK has ended and I'm now a British citizen. I spent 7 years in the UK, based myself in Manchester and Newcastle, the north of England, and also travelled a lot down to London. London was like my second home. So I went to London a lot for business and for personal as well, because, you know, it's such a thriving tech community in London. It's not to say that Manchester and Newcastle weren't, they still are. It's such a great collegial environment. That's what I found when I lived in the north and travelled a lot down in the south. They had their own benefits and advantages, but the main thing that I found in common with all of them is that they were so collegial and everyone is, the startup community is so welcoming. So before I quit my job to become a tech entrepreneur, I was a solicitor in Australia for 8 years and decided to quit and just embark on this amazing journey. I never looked back. I always said that I could always go back to becoming a solicitor, but you know, 1 year turned to 2 years, turned to 3 years, and after 7 years, there's no looking back. The tech industry is such a dynamic and interesting industry to be in. How this all started was when I received my visa. I started a blog. It was the Tech Nation Visa blog, just sharing my journey. That blog became quite viral. I had a lot of people contacting me about how I received it and how they could get it too. So in the last sort of 4 years that I've been doing this, I've helped over 250 tech entrepreneurs, senior execs and tech employees. My clients included people from WhatsApp, Sony, LinkedIn, startups, CTOs, CEOs, UX designers, business development, marketing and graduates. I've seen a lot, and it's really great to see people who are unsure, but after speaking with me and even just sharing my story, that they go ahead and apply and they get it. So it's such an amazing feeling being part of that. Just a quick disclaimer, I'm not affiliated with Home Office or Tech Nation. I only deal with Stage 1 endorsements for this particular presentation as well. The only way I'm affiliated with Tech Nation is that I am part of the alumni because I received the Global Talent Visa. So just a quick background, in case you are going to be researching this. There are a number of endorsing bodies that endorse applicants, and if you are going under the academic or researcher route, there's an endorsing body or group of endorsing bodies for that. If you are in the arts, architecture, fashion, film and TV, there are a number of endorsing bodies for that as well. But here we are only talking about the Tech Nation visa, or the for the industry as in digital technology. So Tech Nation is the endorsing body for those working in the tech sector. Okay, so just in case you are going to be looking at it, it can be quite confusing. So the Global Talent Visa is an umbrella visa with many endorsing bodies, of which Tech Nation is one of. So what is the Global Talent Visa? It was called the Exceptional Talent Visa, and that's what I got. But over the years, and I think last year, they did change it to Global Talent Visa. It still has the same requirements. It's a special visa that was introduced to allow highly skilled tech entrepreneurs and talent in digital technologies the ability to apply for the right to live and work in the UK for up to 5 years. It's a two-stage process where the applicant must be endorsed by Tech Nation by meeting the strict criteria set by Tech Nation before they can apply for the visa. So stage 1 is the endorsement stage by Tech Nation, and then once you are endorsed, stage 2 is the Home Office visa application stage. It's more than a job application, because when you look at all the requirements and criteria, you'll see it does have a flavour of a job application, but it's a little bit more than that. And it is merit-based as opposed to employer-based. So this is the difference with a lot of visas that are out there. You know, some of them require you to have job offers, whereas the Global Talent Visa, it's about you, your achievements, the impact that you've made to the tech sector. So it's merit-based. The benefits of the Global Talent Visa is it gives you the freedom and flexibility to live and work in the UK for up to 5 years. It allows you to apply for indefinite leave to remain and British citizenship. So I'm proof of that. It does let you do that. You can also bring your dependents with you. You can register a UK limited company, and you can work for a tech company without the need for a company sponsorship. So that's the biggest advantage and benefit there, because the visa is attached to you. So an example is, I'm a tech entrepreneur. I wanted to take a break from my startup, so I joined an IoT accelerator. I became their community manager, and then after that went back to my startup, and then I decided to work for a university for 10 months covering a maternity leave. So I was able to be quite flexible in the jobs that I was able to get, and it was really easy. It didn't really matter. They just said, do you have the right to live to work in the UK? I said, yes, I have a Global Talent Visa. And it was so easy. The visa is also very cost effective. I've had a number of visas over the years. This one is one of the cheapest in terms of the application fee. There is another fee that is a bigger fee, but I'll go through that in a second. So just giving you a bit of stats before we go ahead. It's a Global Talent Visa, so there are people coming in from 90 plus countries. The most people who apply are from USA, India, Russia, Pakistan and Canada. They're just some of the stats, but obviously there's more people applying from loads and loads of different countries. The endorsement rate is 54%, so that's not great. But that's because there's a way in which you can structure your application to convince the assessor that you do really deserve to be in the UK and you do have the right accolades and merits. There are 1,700 successful recipients in the last it started in 2014. There have been about 3,400 applications, but 1,700 with a 54% success rate have been endorsed. Now, this is because when I applied back then in 2016, there was a cap. But now there is no cap. There used to be a 200 limit of people being able to apply for this visa, but there's now unlimited endorsements. So whoever wants to apply can potentially get the endorsement. There's a 75 to 25 percent split for male and female applicants and endorsements. And there's a category in which you can apply. You can apply for exceptional talent or exceptional promise. And those that apply for exceptional talent should have more than 5 years experience, and those that have less than 5 years experience can go for exceptional promise. So this is why it's merit-based. So they understand that, you know, people who have more than 5 years experience have a different benchmark than those who are just starting in their tech career. So there's a 68-32 split there. So Tech Nation also late last year, they produced a report to have a look at where the applicants are coming from and what the endorsements rates were. So as you can see on the left, it goes from Nigeria to China from 30% to 86%. So and then in the middle there is Russia, South Africa, and Australia. Those in the US have a 74% endorsement rate, and those from China, 86%. So that's quite high. Over to the right, there's some skills. This Tech Nation visa is not just about people who have technical skills. You can apply if you have business skills as well. So over on the right, obviously people who are software engineers are more likely to get endorsed. But then again, people with the business development skills and marketing and operations, they're getting endorsed as well. So that's just the stats here over to the right. Now, I had a look at gender. I asked for some stats around gender because we understand that the tech sector has, there's only 19% of women working in the tech sector. So I was really interested to see what the stats were there. Those who are applying for exceptional talent, there's an 80% male versus 20% female. And those who are applying for exceptional promise, there's a 67% male and 33% female who are applying for the endorsements under promise. Now, as I said before, there's a 75 to 25% application rate for men versus women. But what's really interesting, and this is something that I was really interested in, is that there's a 50% endorsement rate for men, but there's a 60% endorsement rate for women. And that's really promising because I know I work with a lot of women and they see the criteria and they're really scared about, you know, I don't meet the criteria, so they won't apply. But as you can see here, those that are applying, they've got a higher endorsement rate than men who are applying. So a lot of times it's about having the confidence and just going for it, because you never know, you might get it. So this is really promising statistics. And then finally, I asked for statistics around skill and gender as well. As I said, you know, women are more likely to be endorsed than men. So if you have a look at some examples, I've highlighted the most relevant ones here. Business development, the females are being endorsed at a much higher rate than men. And marketing, 62% versus 40%. Women working in operations, there's a 73% of being endorsed as opposed to 41% in men. Product management, there's a lot of women working in product management, 62% as opposed to 57%. And a really interesting one here, video game designers. I know there's a 93% versus a 7% application rate, whereas the endorsement rate, 54% men are being endorsed and 100% of women are being endorsed if they're applying as a video game designer. So that's even more promising as well. And then over the years, these applications have steadily increased because the more people who know about it, the more people who will apply. So back when I applied in 2016, the stats aren't there, but there weren't many who were applying when I applied. But as you can see over the years, there's been a massive increase. Even during COVID, the people were still applying. And it was really great to see that result there. Now, just quickly about the process. So as I said, there's a two-stage process. And within the first stage, there's 2 steps. The first stage is you pay and register at the Home Office. Okay, and then the second step is that you must upload all your documents on the Tech Nation portal. The application fee is only £456 for the first stage, which is the endorsement stage. Once you upload all your documents on the Tech Nation portal, you have 8 weeks wait for Tech Nation to come back to you to determine whether or not you have been successful or unsuccessful. During COVID, though, the decisions have come back so much quicker. I've had some people say that they've been endorsed within 3 hours of applying, as opposed to, some have had to wait for, maybe 3 weeks. But that's not that bad compared to they have 8 weeks to come back to you. So 3 hours to 3 weeks, it's not that long. Once they come back to you, you are either successful or unsuccessful. If you are successful, then you go on to the stage 2 Home Office visa application stage. So this is the visa stage. You have to pay £152, which isn't so much. Then there's the biometrics and the immigration health surcharge fee. The biometrics, when I remember, it was about £20, but it's the immigration health surcharge fee that is a bit more. It's now £624 per year that you've got your visa for. So if it's a 5-year visa, then it's 624 times 5. So that was the bigger fee that I was talking about. Everyone has to pay this, and that covers you for the NHS service, so the National Health Service. So once you apply for stage 2 for your visa, it takes between 3 to 8 weeks for your passport to come back to you, and then you can make arrangements to move to the UK, or if you're already in the UK, you can continue to stay in the UK. Now, if you are unsuccessful, there is an appeal process. You can challenge the assessor's decision and it will go to a new assessor, and you can say, the first assessor made a mistake, because that can happen as well. So you've got 28 calendar days in which to appeal, and they have 28 calendar days in which to respond to you. And then if you are successful, then you go to the stage 2 stage and apply for your visa. If you're unsuccessful in your appeal, you can take the feedback that they've given you and you can reapply, or there are other visa routes which you can consider. Now, I've helped a lot of people who have been unsuccessful and they've reapplied and they've been successful. So it's not to say that you should just stop your journey there. Take the feedback and reconsider and have a look if you can resubmit. Now, the eligibility requirements for the endorsement is, as I said, the Tech Nation visa can be for people with technical skills, but it can also be for people with business skills. So over to the left, you can see that these are, the traditional tech roles, engineers, cybersecurity experts, CTOs, VR, AR developers, front-end developers. So they're the more sort of traditional tech roles. Now, if you have a business skill, and a lot of women do, and I've helped a lot of women with business skills, and they are those who are working in sales, in biz dev, marketing, operations, product managers, those who are responsible for the growth of the business in terms of sales, revenue, commercial side. So if you have a business skill, definitely you can consider this route. And over to the right, Tech Nation have specified that those who aren't eligible, and the ones that I do get questions mainly on, are people who work for consultants or as consultants or outsourcers. So over here, it's about, technical or management consultants. They aren't usually eligible. So, they aren't eligible. So unfortunately, Tech Nation have made that very clear about who is or isn't eligible. So just check that. So what does the application look like? There are 15 documents which you need to submit. The first one is obviously a CV, so it's just like a job application, a personal statement, which I prefer to call it a professional statement. And then you also need to supply 3 letters of recommendation by experts in your field. So they're the people who can vouch for you and explain why you deserve this visa, and why you should come to the UK and what value you can add to the UK and what your future plans are. So you need 3 of those. Everyone has to do this. And then you need to provide 10 documents, and there are mandatory and optional criteria. So there's 5 criteria and you only need to select 3. Okay, and the page limit is 3 pages per document. So if you think about it, 15 documents, 3 pages each, that's 45 pages. What a lot of people have said, it's almost like a PhD of your career, and it really is, because it forces you to think about what your projects have been, what impact you've made, what achievements you've had over the your 5 to 7 year career in tech, and everyone has to go through this. It is very stressful. I've been there. I know what it's like, but it's one of those things that you would never get the opportunity to do to this level. So it just embrace the journey and the process. So what's really important is TechNation are interested in people who've worked for product-led digital technology companies. And this is a new definition in the guidelines that they've just published in December of last year. And they want people who work in companies that are building products. So they've got a new definition about what a product-led digital technology company is, and that is a business that provides a proprietary digital technical service, product, platform, or hardware as their primary revenue source. So a lot of people who have asked me about, working as a consultant or outsourcers or technology-related consultancy groups focus on process service delivery or solution systems architecture, they're unfortunately not a product-led digital technology company. So long as you work for a company or you are an entrepreneur and you are building a product for your company that's proprietary, then it's safe to say that you can apply and you will be eligible to apply for the endorsement. Okay, so these are the criteria, but before you go to the criteria, you look at the category, and this is when I talked about the exceptional talent versus exceptional promise. So you pick which one you fall under. People who select exceptional talent are those who have more than 5 years experience in their career, or those who are less than 5 years experience, they select exceptional promise. Another distinguishment between these two is that if you are endorsed with exceptional talent, it means that in 3 years you can apply for an indefinite leave to remain, whereas if you apply for exceptional promise, you need to wait for 5 years before you apply for indefinite leave to remain, and then obviously then you go on to British citizenship if you choose to. So that's another difference as well. So there are 2 criteria. The first one is a mandatory criteria, which everyone has to select. And the second is the optional criteria, where you've got 4 options and you only need to select 2. Okay, this has just been recently changed as well in the December changes. So the leadership criteria, everyone needs to show that they are a leader or a potential leader in the digital technology field. And then you can choose 2 out of 4 optional criteria. You need to show proof of innovation or examples of innovation. You need to show proof of recognition for work outside of your immediate occupation that advances the digital tech sector. Or you can choose that you've made significant contributions or impact on a product-led digital technology company. And 4, if you've made any academic contributions. So those are the criteria. So there's 5 criteria, of which you have to choose leadership, and then you choose 2 out of 4. And they make up your 10 documents. So I'll just go through quickly each of the criteria because it can be quite overwhelming and daunting, but when you break it down, it won't be. So the first mandatory criteria is a leadership criteria. So you need to show that you've been recognized as a leading or potential talent in the digital technology sector, because there's a difference, obviously, when you select talent or promise. So talent, you need to show that you are a leader, whereas promise, you show that you have the potential to be a leader. So they say that a leader of exceptional talent or promise must show extraordinary ability by sustained or emerging national or international recognition. And the individual will be able to demonstrate a level of expertise or emerging expertise which places them at the forefront of their respective field in the digital technology sector. And these are some examples of leadership. So when you break it down, you can see, do you have any evidence of these? So you can show examples of leadership by showing that you have an organizational, product or thought leadership. If you're working in marketing or biz dev, you can show revenue, customer growth or commercial success. If you've been working on any open source projects, if you've won any awards, if you've done any speaking engagements, if you've been published in any major trade publications, do you command a high salary? And this is contentious because it depends on which country that you're from, and comparing it to the UK. So we can talk about that if you do feel that you have a question around commanding a high salary. Have you been a panel speaker, or have you been a judge at any competitions, or if you've been working in large technology-led initiatives? So that's a bit like STEM, working and promoting any women in tech or girls in tech to help them through the tech industry. So any evidence that you can provide include any letters of support from global industry experts who can vouch for you. If you've got any evidence of news clippings, your actual awards, any promotional material when you're speaking at events, when you're working any lines of code in open source projects, if you've got any evidence of the articles that you wrote or were interviewed in, and any media and press. So those are some examples. So hopefully that will make it sort of a little bit clear about what leadership you can show and examples of leadership. So here are some of my examples that I provided and that I've gathered over the years as well. So here I was, interviewed in Startups magazine. As I said, I co-founded Women of Wearables. I ran some STEM workshops teaching girls how to make wearable tech bracelets that light up. I have spoken at some events. I've been quoted in books, and for my company, I was interviewed and featured in the Sunday Times. I was also featured in TechCrunch, Business Leader, and I was also a judge at a virtual IoT hackathon for Media Tech Labs. So those are the types of things that I've done that really impact and help the tech community. So this can be used as examples to show leadership. And this takes me on to looking at personal branding, because when you're talking about leadership, you can also look at what your personal brand looks like and how you can raise your profile. And personal branding is an intentional effort to create a public perception of you by positioning yourself as a leader or authority in your field. And don't worry, it's not about bragging. I know that when you talk about personal branding, it's quite confronting, but really personal branding is really, if you highlight your strengths, establish your reputation, building trust and communicating your unique attributes that you bring to your current or desired industry. That's what personal branding is. So this is something that I had to go through on my journey when I changed from being a lawyer to being a tech entrepreneur. I really had to look at my own personal branding and what I wanted to project to people when I became a tech entrepreneur. I wanted to be authentic. I wanted to show that I had some knowledge in the wearable tech industry, and I wanted to share my what I learned and what was out there, what was trending. So I was sharing my expertise and knowledge of what I learned. And thought leadership is about sharing insights and ideas and a unique point of view that provoke new ways of thinking, spark discussions and debates, and inspires action. So thought leadership is an example of leadership. So if you know a topic inside and out and you have formed a clear and unique defensible point of view about it, and you can freely share that perspective. You've been in the tech industry, you live and breathe it every day, so you have something to share and add value to the tech sector. So that's leadership. There are 4 other optional criteria of which you need to select 2 out of 4 from. The first one is on innovation. So you need to show a proven track record of innovation or examples as a founder, senior exec of a product-led digital technology company, or as an employee working on a new digital field or concept. So you can be a founder or an employee and showing evidence of innovation. And this examples of that is, patents. If you've got any, don't worry if you don't, because I've not worked with many people with patents, maybe 3 or 4. If you don't, that's okay. You can show your designs, your concepts, your prototypes, and that's if you've got a technical skill. But if you've got a more business skill, you can show your accounts, your stockists, your strategy, your growth, user base. So those are the different types of ways you can show innovation. The second optional criteria is showing proof of recognition for work beyond your occupation that contributes to the advancement of the digital tech sector. So first of all, you need to show that this is outside of your day-to-day job. And the second thing you need to show is you're impacting the digital tech sector. So anything like community work or volunteer work, open source projects, if you've got a GitHub or Stack Overflow account, you can produce letters of support to show that you've advanced the field by the work that you do. Do you teach or conduct any workshops? Do you mentor or coach? And if you are a STEM ambassador, these are some examples. So for me, I was a STEM ambassador. And I also ran the Women of Wearables community. So I showed evidence of that to show that, this is beyond my day-to-day job, and this is how I advanced the digital tech sector. So I encouraged more women and girls to be in the tech sector, and this is my impact. The third optional criteria is showing significant impact, and that can be technical, commercial, or entrepreneurial contributions to the field as a founder, a senior exec, or employee of a product-led digital technology company. So this is more about numbers, showing your metrics and growth, using words like I instead of we, because a lot of people, when you're working in a team, it is about we, but because this endorsement is for exceptional talent or promise and it's merit-based, the assessor needs to be sure that this is your work, that you actually did this work. So just replace anything with we and use I instead. Any analytics and revenue, what did the project look like before you started versus what does it look like after you worked on it? And you can talk about the potential impact, its scalability on the project as well. And did your project win any awards? That's excellent impact of your contribution. And you can also go a bit further and talk about what was the impact to the company, to customers, to partners, and to the industry overall in general. So, you may have produced this, developed a product, and it's a brand new product to market. So, that increases competition and shows a bit of innovation as well. And the fourth optional criteria that you can choose is academic contributions. So if you can show that you've demonstrated exceptional ability or examples in the field by academic contributions through research published or endorsed by an expert. So you can show evidence of that through published journals, through any R&D grants, innovation vouchers, or academic research, or letters of support from professors. Now, I chose this criteria because with Made with Glove, we were dealing with some really innovative technology, and I worked with a university, University of Exeter down south of England, and worked with a professor, and they sort of helped me move my product a little bit further. So I received a letter of support from them, from the professor, but the only thing that was a really challenging part of it was because they're working in academia, they need time to write letters. So I was chasing this professor for about 3 weeks. So when you're dealing with academics, just give them enough time and sort of be wary that you might have to chase them because their time scales might be a bit longer than normal industry experts. So just be wary of that. And this is something that I didn't realize. I should have asked them a lot sooner than later. But this was a really pinnacle piece of evidence for me, because not only did I help them in their research, they helped me as well. So it was a two-way street there. So in summary, I know there's a lot of material, but breaking it down hopefully would make things a lot less stressful and overwhelming. Do you have a technical or business skill? You can apply if you're under exceptional talent or promise, so that's less or more than 5 years. Do you work for a product-led digital technology company? And then the application documents, there's 15 documents you need to submit, of which includes a CV, a personal statement, 3 letters of recommendation by experts in your field, and then you need to produce 10 documents from 3 out of 5 criteria. The first criteria is the leadership criteria, and the optional criteria is you need to show pick 2 out of 4, so that's innovation, proof of recognition for work beyond your occupation, if you've made any significant impacts or academic contributions. And once you're endorsed by TechNation, you can then apply for your Stage 2 visa. So hopefully that, in a nutshell, it's not so overwhelming after I've explained it, because when you do read the guidelines, it can seem overwhelming, but just keep reading it, because this is it's an application process and it will take time to digest and then apply to your own situation. So having been through the process myself and having helped, a lot of people with theirs, my top 5 tips are: start preparing early. When I applied for mine, my existing visa in the UK, I had an entrepreneur's visa, and that was expiring. And I was under a lot of stress, because if that visa expired before I got this visa, it meant that I had to go back to Australia. So looking back and helping a lot of people, the preparation time is around 3 to 6 months. To help you sort of gather all your evidence and not push through quickly, because you are doing, you are working in your full-time job as well as doing this. And as I said, it's like a PhD of your career. And also try not to be overwhelmed as well. Time always is a big stress factor. So if you take time away, then the other stress hopefully can be managed. When I applied in 2016, there wasn't a lot of support available, but now that the visa's been out for 7 years now, support is available. So there's lots of people who are out there to help you, to answer any questions. So that's really, I think, take advantage of that, because I didn't have it when I applied. Number 3, engage and build your network. As I said, you need 3 letters of recommendation by experts in your field. So it really is an important process to go through, looking at through your experts and seeing who can help you and vouch for you. Number 4, this is an opportunity to reflect on your tech career and think about your future plans in the UK, because you do need to articulate that to the assessors as well. You need to explain what your future plans are, and then looking at your track record over 5 to 7 years in the tech industry. And it is a really good process. I really enjoyed it. And then number 5, just start as well. I have a lot of people who feel that they don't meet the criteria, so they don't even, apply. But if you start, then you can, when you, going to events or when you're doing anything around in the digital tech sector, you've got this in the back of your mind, and you can think, okay, how can I use this as evidence? Or if you meet people and build a relationship with experts, after sort of 6 to 12 months, you could potentially ask them to support you. So just have this in the back of your mind and just start thinking about it, because I assure you this process is very rewarding once you go through it and succeed. And finally, January 2021, obviously Brexit has happened. EU citizens can now apply for the Global Talent Visa. Before they didn't need to, but now maybe numbers will increase because of Brexit, and because they can apply for the Global Talent Visa as well. So I'd like to share some amazing women in tech who did receive the Exceptional Talent endorsement or Exceptional Promise endorsement. These are just 36 women who I managed to ask to help me and say, would you like to appear in my webinar presentation? I gave them, I think, 4 days and they all said yes, and it's just amazing. There are about 400 of us, but in 4 days I was able to connect with all of these amazing women who said, yes, please put me in, and I'd love to be involved, because everyone who's been through this journey, we remember it like it was yesterday, and we are more than willing to help any other women who want to ask questions about our journey, and just a bit of confidence boost to really consider this, because it is life-changing. My life changed dramatically after receiving this visa, and also being able to start my, continue my wearable tech company in the UK, and just making an impact, to the UK tech sector. So it's extremely rewarding. We've got women from seeing this picture makes me feel extremely proud, because there's only 19% of women working in the tech industry, and we make up that 19%, but we're hoping that it will increase We have women, you know, from tech backgrounds, but also business backgrounds as well, and from women all over the world. And how diverse is this photo? It's so inspiring, and all we want to see is more diversity in the tech sector. So please do join us if you are considering this, or now that you know about it, we'd love to have you as part of our Women in Tech alumni. And finally, this is something that I invited some women in tech, the Exceptional Talent Visa Endorsement women, to the Booking.com Awards in London in 2019. I hosted a table and we celebrated women from all over the world. Booking.com actually flew in all the shortlisted candidates, and we had an amazing night in London. That was 2 years ago. It was cancelled last year, but we're hoping that we can go again potentially next year and celebrate women all over the world doing amazing things. So please do join us. The alumni is such a great network as well, and community. We're there to help each other, and that's why I love being in the tech sector. And finally, if you want more information, please do have a look at the official guidelines on technation.io. There are ambassadors as well who can also help you and answer any questions that you may have. And if you'd like to reach out and connect with me, please do. I'm on LinkedIn, or have a look at my website, michellehewer.co.uk. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be on this amazing, to be involved in Techno Day for International Women's Day, and I do hope that you receive some useful information here, and potentially I'll see you in the UK in the next sort of 3 to 6 months. So thank you so much for coming along and participating in my webinar presentation. Thank you. Bye.